6 minutes past 8 Central African time. You're still tuned in to News and Views. Myself, Salilo Makudiri. South Africa's offshore oil and gas ambitions have collided with one of the world's most politically charged legal disputes. The environmental organization, the Green Connection, has raised objections to an Israeli energy company's application to explore for oil and gas in the Orange Basin of South Africa's west coast. The group, the Green Connection, argues that the bid cannot be separated from South Africa's genocide case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, while also raising serious concerns about the environmental implications of offshore drilling. I did some research, and the Orange Basin essentially has become one of the world's fastest growing oil and gas frontiers. This is following some major discoveries of the coast of South Africa and Namibia. It's becoming a really interesting region. It's a region that's attracting billions and billions of rands in investment and some of the world's biggest energy companies. But as South Africa balances economic opportunity, which we can all agree we desperately need, energy security also, there are also climate commitments. And this latest challenge adds another layer to what is an already complex debate. And joining us now is Neville Van Rooy from the Green Connection, who's going to be unpacking why they have objections to this endeavor by this Israeli company. And I'll give you its name right now. But right now, I want to introduce Neville joining us via virtual platform. Neville, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to News and Views.
Good morning, assalamu alaikum, and thank you for this opportunity. It's always a privilege to be back all the time. Thank you for inviting us and having us on the platform again.
No, the pleasure is all ours, and really looking forward to this conversation. And I want to kickstart to maybe the genesis, maybe for our listeners who may have missed the story. What exactly is your organization challenging? What is this Israeli company that's looking to invest what many would argue is much, much needed foreign investment into the country? And why did you decide that this application warrants a legal and public scrutiny?
Yeah, thank you very much. We are having our eyes and ears on the West Coast, the Deepwater Orange Basin, that has become a very hot potato in the West Coast. So whether it doesn't matter which country or which company is coming, we know and are aware, and it's nothing new for us when these companies are changing hand from one to the other. And yeah, so in Block 1 of the West Coast, it's right on the border stretching to Namibia. There's always been changing hands as well. And now we have seen and looked at specifically how this is changing from an Israeli company and Navitas, and we are concerned not just for the oil and gas that they want to take. We know that our government is just approving these oil and gas activities. Since we are a signatory to the climate agreement, we are concerned that applications are still being approved. That's the one thing, and the other thing is then it's still an Israeli company. So that is why we've written this letter, because we know that we still have this ongoing case on the ICJ platform as well.
Very, very important. I want to come to your objection because looking at it, it doesn't look like it's only environmental. It also references, I think, one of the biggest cases in the world right now, which is South Africa's case against Israel at the International Court of Justice. How do you believe those two issues intersect? Where do they meet?
Yeah, it's very important that we need to see our policy positions as a country, that it needs to be clearly articulated from our government as to how we deal with companies of Israeli entities. That's very important. But, we faced with a very big challenge as South Africa. 10 years ago, we didn't have this company with this gross human rights violations necessarily, but now we definitely have, because we have been taking that very country to the ICJ court and complaining about that gross human rights violations, and therefore we clearly need to to have a position of, from a government perspective, of how do we deal with companies in a lawful, transparent, in a policy position, being communicated to ordinary South Africans as to where we're going, talking about the before and aftermath of this country. In where we're going with this, how we're dealing on an international stage and international relations with this company going ahead.
There's a question that some people might ask, Neville. They would argue that environmental regulations should remain completely separate from geopolitics, what's currently happening in the world and the current affairs and how countries interact. Why, in your view, do you think they are inseparable, especially in this instance where you have an Israeli company and I think we can all agree a very, very well documented genocide that's currently ongoing in Gaza, and South Africa, which has become, I think, heads and shoulders above everyone else when it comes to condemning Israel. But there are those that feel, well, the environmental regulations aspect and geopolitics, they shouldn't connect in any way because they are world apart. From your opinion, why are they inseparable, especially in this instance?
Yeah, no, they are definitely inseparable, because when we see most of these companies that are, wanting to, are interested in doing, it's a lot of multinational companies. We are active from block 1 all the way to block 11B, 12B, all around our coastal areas. You can imagine how many blocks that is and how much interest that is. And what we find is a lot of multinational companies that is interacting on that space. And it's also about, energy demand. All of these countries want to come for energy, and we want to talk energy relations. We also want to talk just transition, and that energy, they want to get that resources from South Africa, and there's that international or relations that we have, and on that basis, it is really inseparable, where we can, have that relationship already ongoing with on that international platform, with on a global position. And also when we're talking about energy, it is also interacting on a global and international platforms as well.
I want us to go to a quick break, but when we come back, I want to focus on a conversation that a lot of people keep on bringing up: the fact that environmental groups sometimes underestimate the country's need for energy security and economic growth, and being against such developments in the Orange Basin is counterproductive to economic growth of the country. And which comes first? Is it the environment and protecting the environment, which is quite imperative, or livelihoods and creating jobs and growing the economy, which is also equally important? I want to come back from the break and try and see if there's again any intersection between the two. Is it possible to have both at the same time instead of sacrificing one over the other? But we'll do that after this short break.
It's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying, or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Right now, over 150 million children around the world are orphaned, facing hunger, hardship, and uncertainty. With Islamic Relief's Orphan Sponsorship Program, you can provide a child with access to education, nutritious food, essential healthcare, and a safe home. Your sponsorship is not just support, it's hope, security, and a brighter future. Be the reason an orphan child smiles again. Sponsor an orphan today with Islamic Relief.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Are you banking with convenience, transparency, and flexibility? With Al Baraka Bank's transactional banking account, you can enjoy convenient everyday banking designed around your needs. Benefit from zero fees on point-of-sale transactions and manage your banking easily through Al Baraka's secure mobile banking app and internet banking platform. From everyday payments to managing your personal or business banking, Al Baraka makes banking simple, transparent, and convenient. Visit albaraka.co.za to learn more. Al Baraka, your partner bank. Al Baraka Bank Limited is an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Rejuvenating media day by day. This is Salam Media.
17 minutes past 8, and you're still tuned in to News and Views with myself, Salailo Makwidire, and I'm still in conversation with Neville Van Rooy from the Green Connection. And we have a very interesting conversation. This around an Israeli energy company, Navitas Petroleum, which has essentially applied to buy a 37.5 stake in an offshore oil and gas exploration block in South Africa's Orange Basin of the country's west coast. And the Orange Basin is very, very topical right now. It's being described as one of the most significant hydrocarbon discoveries in recent years, with the potential to transform South Africa's economy. And that's exactly where I want to touch and take this conversation to with you, Neville. And thank you so much for staying with us. There are those that are saying, environmental groups like yourselves, and this is just outside of Navitas Petroleum, that environmental groups like yourselves are underestimating the country's need for energy security and for economic growth by being against projects like this one. Is there any truth to this? The fact that we are putting the protection of the environment over economic growth and over energy security?
Yeah, thank you. We've gotten that one quite a lot, and we want to highlight our position from a continental perspective and bring that in. This continent of ours is one of the leaders in renewable energy potential. And when we are talking about energy, we are at a stage where we're in a climate crisis, and that climate crisis has been caused by fossil fuels. And we want to highlight that, and take a strong stance on it is time to move away from fossil fuels and to go to renewable energy possibilities. And we want to brag with our continent that has that potential, and we want to start implementing that. And it is this is the time where we also want to highlight that our ocean plays a critical role in terms of our climate carbon sink, to regulate, and is responsible for over 50% of what we are breathing. And we want to protect the ocean for that purpose exactly. And it is important that we know that the ocean plays a crucial role for coastal communities all across the globe, not just South Africa, the West Coast that we're talking about right now, and also playing a crucial role in terms of our food sovereignty and our food security as well. And for that purpose, we want to, highlight the ocean as a time where we need to start to protect it and, migrate away from fossil fuels. And why do we still want to expose the ocean to this, dirty, destructive type of development where there is other alternatives on the continent that could be explored as well? So people need to balance that quite well with the food security and our right to a clean environment as well.
I want to say with the Orange Basin, and it's purely from an environmental perspective. What are some of the biggest apprehensions that you guys have about drilling in this particular offshore block? Are there specific ecosystems or marine species that could be affected?
Well, true to all of that, there is different marine protected areas in all of the Deepwater Orange Basin, and the West Coast alone. There's as much as 9 different marine protected areas, and we're talking about ecosystems within ecosystems. Different ecosystems that are at risk, and we're also talking about different marine traffic that is coming in a seasonal basis on the West Coast and all across the South African coast as well. Different migrational patterns. You have the whales, you have the dolphins, you have the snook run. You have different migrational patterns that is happening there, including the marine protected areas that is stationed as well. That is ecosystems as well. So we're talking about ecosystems and breeding zones within ecosystems that is directly responsible for the coastal communities, the fishing communities that is living directly from that coastal communities. And then we can even take that further as well. There's the plastic pollution that we also trying to protect the ocean from, and remove all of that plastics out of the ocean as well. So it is, all of that, it's quite an active and a very vibrant place that we want to protect for present and future generations, as it is stated in Section 24 of our Constitution.
Excuse me if I'm playing devil's advocate a bit too much here, but I think it's very, very important to ask some of these difficult questions, and some questions that critics
welcome.
often throw to you guys. One of those questions is, environmental organizations often like saying no without presenting practical alternatives. So if South Africa shouldn't pursue offshore oil and gas, what should it be investing in instead?
Yeah, in a sense, I've already, given you all of that practicalities. There's offshore wind, there's offshore solar, there is, there's even, wave energy that is our energy alternatives. We want to look at the energy alternatives to oil and gas, the fossil fuel that is a dirty, destructive oil and gas, and it's also responsible for climate change. We need to put it in that, perspective, and ordinary people need to know that this is the energy type that has got us into this trouble that we are in right now, and therefore we need to migrate or transition to a different type of energy, and which Africa has plenty of it, and we just need to experiment with that. And we need a cleaner oceans, we need a cleaner environment, we need a cleaner form of energy that is able to take us over into this transition. This is the time where we need to phase out, yes, a fossil fuel. Even South Africa has been dependent on fossil fuel for so long, and this is the time where we need to start an experimental phase of transition over to a cleaner type of energy. And this fossil fuels has really been there for only for this era, and then we want to transition to a different type of energy type.
Let's come to the objection here. Just legally speaking, what's happening now and what's going to be happening next? Could this challenge delay the licensing process, or is it simply one voice among many other in the consultation process?
Yeah, we are certainly hoping that we are able to delay and get good decision making policy position stand on this, and we hope that all communities and all South African citizens has its right to give input in this process going forward with another company, a fossil fuel company that wants to extract oil and gas of the block one. There's also the coastal communities that needs to voice out their opinion relating to this company, and they know about the ICJ case, about what's happening there, and here we have a company that is being approved. So where are we currently standing, or what are we doing going forward? So it's an ongoing process, and we hope that we are able to take this process, have it started all over, and this company being, not allowed to venture into our oceans.
And if the government, goes ahead and approves the application, despite your objections, are there other options that remain available to the Green Connection?
Most definitely, we will look at legal options. We will weigh up our options and see how we can, challenge them going forward, going ahead, despite people's views. We've done that in the past, taking them, the government, to court at times. If that's a process that we need to do, we will definitely follow up on that. And we always will look at our options and leverage our options and see what is the best option to take forward.
And just finally, I'm just looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, and maybe just even looking beyond the specific case, do you believe South Africa has a coherent long-term energy strategy, or are we witnessing policy fragmentation where economic imperatives and environmental obligations are increasingly coming at odds here? It's loggerheads time and time again between these very, very two, I think, narratives, especially from government.
Yeah, government seems to be in a position where they think that they still need to hold on to this, giving fossil fuels another lifeline. And we think it's time for us really to make an informed decision, to make a decision that is helpful for the oceans, for the climate, and ultimately for people's livelihoods as well going forward. And all, to really use the current research that we have in terms of renewable energy potential that we have on this continent and this country, and that needs to be harnessed and not being delayed. Renewable energy can't be just a subject, but it's a subject that's being delayed. It needs to be starting to be implemented and experimented with.
No, most definitely. Neville Van Rooy from the Green Connection. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Really, really appreciate it. And I'm pretty sure we're going to be speaking again as the story develops.
Thank you so much.
There you go. I want to hear your thoughts, hey, listening right now. And I think this may be just outside of Navita Petroleum. Yeah, outside of Navita Petroleum, because I think it's unequivocal. We shouldn't be doing business with Israel, especially with the genocide case that's currently ongoing at the ICJ. But from your perspective, and what do you think it's important? You have the Orange Basin. It's attracting global attention. It's seen as the next frontier when it comes to oil and gas exploration on the African continent. And South Africa is at a very precarious position economically. People need jobs. The economy needs growth. We need alternative streams of income for the country. We need to diversify our economy. But then again, the conversation around the protection of the environment is imperative. Environmental stewardship, especially how South Africa's position itself in that conversation, is becoming important. So where do you think we should go in this conversation? Do you create jobs, exploit the minerals that we have in our oceans and underground? Or we continue taking care of the environment and seeing where the two can meet? I want to hear your thoughts. 0617660355, or you can call us on 01168000355. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you right after this.